Welcome, everybody, to the RnR Catcast, a fan-based podcast focusing on Montana State athletics. We're two dudes named Ryan from the state of Washington talking about our dear Montana State. We hope you enjoy. All right, welcome back, Bobcat fans. Thanks for joining us on another episode of the RnR Catcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Foley. I have my good buddy, Ryan Thornburg, with me. We are the Ryans of the RnR, the Montana State affiliate of the Big Sky Podcast Network. We want to say thanks to our awesome sponsor, Gear Up Sports. Gear Up Sports is a youth sports platform focusing on solving the uniform and apparel headache for coaches. If you're a youth or high school coach and need some player packs or uniforms, contact them at www.gearupwithus.com. Make sure to mention the RnR Catcast. We have a swag store over there, a merch store. You can get some RnR gear if you like. That'd be pretty cool to see you out in the wild wearing our logo. That'd be pretty cool. Tonight, we're going to talk about Montana State beating down Pokey. Idaho State Bengals over in Pocatello, 37-17. And we're going to prepare to talk about homecoming against the Battlin Bears, Northern Colorado. Thorny, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great, man. I'm doing fantastic. Good intro. Nailed it.
I think I'm the only person who calls them the Battlin Bears, but I haven't stopped in a couple years.
Yeah, I'm not sure they are the Battlin Bears.
They're not.
We think we've gone over this. We've gone like it was like Rocky, right? Or like we've had this conversation multiple times, and I should know the answer because we've had it multiple times. But here I am, like, no, that's an NAIA Montana team. I just don't remember which one.
Yeah, well.
The Battlin Bears, the Golden Battlin Brown Bears. Just throw all the various bear ones in there.
All right. Well, if you're new to the RnR, thanks for listening with us. A little show rundown for you. We'll talk about any breaking news that happened in Bobcat land. We'll go into Brett Vigen's presser, what he wore, and key points from his talk to the media. We'll go into the FCS stats poll. Typically, that comes before Coach Vigen, so we'll hit that before we talk Coach Vigen. And we'll break down the game that was in Pocatello last week. Montana State improves to 5-0. And then we'll preview homecoming over in Bozeman, Northern Colorado coming to town. A reeling Northern Colorado. I'm not sure when their last win was. It's been a while. They went 0-4 the last season, and they just got done playing Cal Poly, and it didn't look good. So Montana State has, well, they're probably licking their chops right now, just looking at Northern Colorado coming. But we'll get into that, and then we'll hit up some Golden Coulee questions and talk a little bit about what's going on in the Golden Coulee land. We got some questions and some concerns out there for the RnR.
Sounds good. Do you want to do any sort of Big Sky Conference recap since we skipped our instant reaction show?
Yeah, let's do that.
We can maybe just pick a couple games of note. We don't have to go through everything, maybe. But there was some noteworthy stuff in the Big Sky. It was a pretty wild weekend, actually.
All right. Well, let's do that right after we do the FCS stats before we get into Coach Vigen's stuff, because typically when we get into Coach Vigen's stuff, that just parlays right into our good conversation about the game.
Sounds good. All right. So.
All right. But first, let's get on the horse.
What's in your Golden Coulee?
What's in your Golden Coulee is brought to you by Wilbur Ellis. Go see Shea Richter and Company up in Fort Benton for all your farming and fertilizer needs. All right, Bully, I was asking you before the show started. I told you I wanted a beer. I didn't want to jinx it. And you told me it's Northern Colorado. Don't worry about it. I'm ending my run of sobriety of this podcast on the Golden Coulee segment. I have a Lewis and Clark Miners Gold.
Not a bad
A real
choice.
beer. A real beer. And then I have the Blue Moon non-alcoholic as my second beer if I feel like drinking more after this, which, whatever. But yeah, I'm back on the wagon.
It's back on the wagon.
Off the wagon? Which one is it? Whatever.
So you're not telling me you don't have sparkling water and prune juice?
No, I got called out on Bobcat Nation on the Golden Coulee thread. That was pretty funny when I saw that. Hey, man,
was
whatever.
pretty good by four
it was
corners.
working, but it's time to retire the prune juice.
Yeah. Last night I jetted over to Perry Street. You can see my psychedelic Perry Street mug over here. So no golden coolie for me. This is like a squishy mug that I got at their 10th anniversary last spring, full of their award-winning IPA 2020 Great American Beer Festival Gold Medal IPA. I've had it on before. It's just so stinking good. So there we go. Cheers.
All right.
Okay, so sprung it on me. I'm going to have to pull up the Big Sky scoreboard. I watched a lot of Big Sky on Saturday. I had nothing going on. Livia was coming home from Boston. The boys were being really good, so I just couched myself in front of the TV after doing about 3 hours worth of yard work, cleaning up pine needles over here in Spokane.
That time of year.
And I watched myself a mess of Big Sky football. Let's start off. I want to talk a little bit about the Grizzlies because I wanted to talk about them last week and you shut me down.
Get to the, well, you were talking too much about them. I cut you off. There's a difference.
Yeah. You're right.
But go ahead.
Let's see.
Let's start with the Grizz.
Yeah. Well, because this game was over here in Spokane, Grizzlies won a 52-49 just throwdown over on the red turf. Eastern Washington scores 28 points in the fourth quarter. 7-7-7, and then 28. Montana scores 10 in the first, 21 in the second, 7 in the third, 14 in the fourth to hold on to a 52-49 victory. They had over 700 yards of total offense for the Grizz. And all of a sudden, I'm like, who are these guys? Because there is a strategic lack of defense. Not strategic, maybe that's the wrong word, but a definite, apparent lack of defense. And all of a sudden, they are in some sort of offensive juggernaut. And I've been kind of a little bit of battles with some guys on Bobcat Nation about this. And they're like, well, Eastern's the worst defense, blah, blah, blah. Okay. But still, they have Keelan White, Aaron Fonch, Junior Bergen, Eli Gilman, Cole Grossman. I mean,
Nick
they just have
Osmo
these,
is having a good season too.
Yeah, they just have like these prolific players on offense. Fife is slinging it around.
And it doesn't seem to matter if it's Logan Fife or Ayat either.
So take off the blue-colored glasses there, a couple of you guys, because their offense is for real. I don't care if it's Eastern or not. They're pretty prolific right now on offense, and that is quite the departure from the last couple seasons when we were watching the Grizzlies, where almost they were just banging their head against a wall offensively and then dominating on defense. And so my head is just scratching over here going, what's going on with these guys?
Yeah, and their defense is anything but dominant. They've given up over 40, over 30, over 20 twice, and the only other game was against Morehead State, 59-2. So throw that Morehead State game out, they're giving up like 30-ish points a game, 35 points a game. That's
just very odd.
It's a flip-flop, complete flip-flop from what we've seen from the Grizz years. Are they turning into like a Rob Ash squad?
I kind of feel trouble might be a brewing because Fife is playing so good right now, and they were putting their eggs in the IOP basket. I think this is just going to somehow collide mid-season. I don't see how this is going to work harmoniously. I don't know. Kind of weird. I'm watching with intent from afar right now. It's kind of fun watching.
I mean, we had a very definitive 2-quarterback system, like with purpose. This seems more like they can't decide who to go with. A little bit of nuance between what they had and big cat, little cat.
Mom's chili, wife's chili over there.
That's right.
So something's cooking. All right.
Davis wins at home against the Vandals, man, 28-26. Idaho down to their, third-string quarterback or whatever it was. Fourth-string quarterback.
Fourth, man. He could still sling it, too.
And all of them pretty serviceable, throwing the ball around. But Idaho, man, I think they finally kind of ran out a little bit of luck. I've been kind of... Look, Idaho's a good team. People have been putting them in first-place votes. I've been arguing against that all year. And this weekend proved a couple things. Idaho, I mean, obviously that was on your fourth string quarterback. It's tough to win, but they lose that game, and then the other game that Idaho fans and defenders of them having them in the top 3 and top 2 was their beating of Albany, the top 25 team. Albany just got smoked by Maine.
Let's go.
and we all know what the Bobcats did to Maine. So a bad weekend for the Vandals, and appropriately they fell fairly far in the rankings. I do think they're an extremely good football team, and they won't be down for long. But yeah, I was a little surprised by that one. I was expecting Idaho to kind of keep it rolling, and giving up 28 points to 3 quarters, even with that wasn't really the defense's MO up to this point.
Talked to Mr. Krotzer today. Shout out to Mr. Krotzer, 6th grade science teacher at SAC Middle School, Spokane. I didn't know if he wanted all that info on the podcast.
It's there now.
I went for it. His son plays D-line for the Vandals. He's the guy, I think his number's 97, really long hair. And I was watching that game. I was like, man, your son's getting a lot of snaps. And he gave me some sort of like 40 to 50 snaps. I was like, I thought they rotated more. He's like, man, we are down quite a few in injuries. And he went to list off some major injuries Idaho Vandals have, including Abraham Williams, who was Weber State's returner extraordinaire, who transferred over there. He's out.
I forgot about that. He transferred from Weber, right?
Yeah, they have a big tight end that's out. A couple defensive linemen that are out. So he's like, we're hurting unit right now, and there is trouble. And what was interesting was the first time he talked a little bit disparaging, not really disparaging, but he was like, yeah, and Coach Eck was up to his Coach Eck things, going for a 4th down when we should have just took the point. And most of the time he's singing his praise, but that does come back to bite Coach Eck in once in a while. And I've always thought that Coach Eck is like, he'd rather sell soul than lose kind of coach, where he's just going to put everything on the line just to make that happen. And I thought he was going to pull it off, because I was just like, this is what Vandals do. They get into these games and these shootouts, and nobody's going to shoot out Coach Eck. Miles Hastings did, man. Miles Hastings was incredibly efficient. Their offense was pretty dynamic. They were hitting plays all over. They weren't relying on Landleris, and he was there to be kind of the stalwart backup. Or not backup, but the guy that they could depend on. But a pretty good game from Miles Hastings. I think he had 25 of 33 for 248 yards. That's a solid 3 touchdowns. That's a solid stat for a guy we tend to kind of say he's like who's the Smith guy from, who's that quarterback from the old 49ers? Alex Smith. Yeah. I've heard people maybe it's been Coulter who says he's like the Alex Smith of the Big Sky, but I don't know. UC Davis took a jump in my eyes. Idaho doesn't seem as scary right now. I think the injury bug has caught up to them, and there's only so much that they can withstand.
Well, they did hold the Aggies to, I'm going to do just running backs here, because Miles Hastings got sacked for negative 31 yards, but Landon Harrison only had 46 yards on 18 carries, and their other guy had 5 carries for 14 yards. So Idaho's defense still very stout against the run, so that's going to be strength on strength when it comes to it. Why is Lane Larison at 3 for 3 on passing attempts for 38 yards?
I'm not sure. I do think Idaho's defensive front is a very solid group.
Yes.
I don't think they have the depth right now that they normally rotate with.
Yeah, well, that's a pretty interesting stat. Let's keep, we want to keep it moving here. I don't want to go through all the games. A little bit interesting. Weber State lost to McNeese State, only kind of interesting because Clifton McDowell's quarterback for McNeese State. And a little bit surprising that Weber State was kind of getting it going together, but all of a sudden McNeese is 4-2.
Wouldn't that be something if McNeese State comes to Montana State or Montana in the playoffs?
It's the possibility.
Oh,
it's an absolute possibility.
Yeah. The one I've considered.
Nothing would make me more amused than watching McNeese State roll into Missoula and win.
That would be so cool.
I would laugh myself to sleep on that night. All right. Why don't you take the other game worth mentioning, and we'll get to the Cal Poly game, because we'll talk about that naturally as we talk about Northern Colorado.
Yeah. The other one worth mentioning was Northern Arizona took it to number 10 at the moment, Sacramento State, 34-16, doubled them up and then some. I wasn't able to watch a lick of this game, so I'm just viewing from afar. But Northern Arizona continues to affirm themselves, while Sac State continues to drop 2-3 now, 0-1 in the Big Sky. I think the Sac State Stingers are Stingers down at the moment. And
Stingers medium
former
at
coach
best.
Brian Wright, former Montana State offensive coordinator Brian Wright, has got it going in Northern Arizona. I think they're believing. And when you're believing, when you haven't been able to believe in a while, that's a dangerous football team.
Brian
I'm glad
Wright,
we
the
don't play
OC?
them. Yeah.
Gosh, yeah, I remember that. I just forget. There's so much. Like, it's hard to
He
keep
was
track of all this
McGee's
stuff. Well, no, I know
first
who he is
OC.
Montana State. I know exactly who he is Montana State. I
Yeah.
just forgot that he kind of worked his way back into the Big Sky.
Yeah, went down to Texas State and kind of milled around for a while. Successful.
Who else went to Texas State? Bob Stitt.
Really?
Yeah, wasn't he the head coach there or he was the OC? It didn't last too long because he went there, and then what's his face? Gresh Jensen followed him there.
Gosh, do you remember Gresh Jensen in the Montana State uniform posted on Twitter when he was transferring? That was so weird.
It's like, is he trolling? I would love to have him on the team. He would have been the best armed quarterback, best gunslinging quarterback we've had for forever.
Yeah.
All right.
He's, all right.
We need to keep this
There's
moving.
The Big Sky.
There's the Big Sky, around the Big Sky.
We will try. We will not try. We will do an instant reaction show this week, whether all of us are here or not. It will get done.
It might not be till Sunday, but we'll get one done before Monday. Promise.
All right. FCS football rankings. Top 25 come in. Top 3 the same. South Dakota State garnering not all first place votes. Only 38 this week. North Dakota State number 2, 10 first place votes. And Montana State gaining 2 more votes at number 3.
Everyone just took a little bit of Idaho's first place votes.
Yeah,
I think I redistributed.
First place votes. We had 6 last week. We're 5-0. That's good. South Dakota is number 4. So Montana is sandwiched by South Dakota schools in the rankings. You have Central Arkansas, Villanova 6, North Dakota number 7. They bumped up from number 9. Montana is sitting at 8. They were the same last week. UC Davis is number 9. They made probably the biggest jump, in my opinion. They went from 14 to 9. And Idaho drops to number 10 from number 4. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 Big Sky teams in the top 10. Well, other than that, Sac State drops to number 17. They were 10. And then Northern Arizona squeaks in at number 25. Previously unranked.
Yeah, Weber State got bumped out. Man, to the top 8 teams, 6 of them are from Dakotas or Montana, from the 3 states. And you're telling me the FCS is just getting more and more condensed. This is what it is, people. It's the Dakotas, the Dakota States, and the Montana schools. That's going to be and then Idaho. It's going to be the same top 10 for eternity.
Well, in the people arguing that are going to say, well, it's still Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State all the time, and there's some validity to that. Yeah. But I think if that's the case, then we should all be in the same conference. We should play South Dakota State. We should play North Dakota State. We should play, beat up on each other essentially in some sort of FCS conference, or I don't know.
Just be the Big 12 or the Big 10. Excuse me.
Yeah. I don't know. That would be actually more stressful. Well, yeah. Having South Dakota State, North Dakota State on your...
Half the teams wouldn't be in the playoffs anymore.
No. Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know where I stand anymore on this. It's exhausting to think about.
From that. It's kind of...
It's exhausting.
It was fun. We talked about it. We had our little fantasies. Nothing's going to happen right now, so let's just move on and not talk too much about it anymore.
Let's talk about any news. I'm not on Twitter. Social medias, anything happen?
You're on Bobcat Nation, so anything that would have happened would have made its way onto the BN.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any news. I don't think there's anything worth talking about. I just see an article or some dude on Twitter posted that there was an interview with the Mountain West commissioner and talking about there's some FCS programs on the call or on the list or on the on target board or something. And there's you'd be surprised how some well-established ones. I'm not quoting that at all. It's terrible, but I guess that'd be the news. That'd be the only news.
Paraphrasing is a word.
It's a nice word because that was terrible paraphrasing. It's not even probably close to what the tweet actually says. But yeah,
what was
news.
The two schools that the Mountain West reached out to, clear across into the East Coast?
Someone from the MAC, and that was was one of them Tulane? I don't remember.
It's what?
Long ways away.
Why? It makes no sense.
To get into the new time zone market. That's all that matters now is TV markets. Now you have a new time zone to play in.
All right. Okay. Can we talk about what everybody's here for?
Yes.
What Coach Vegan was wearing.
Absolutely.
And now, Bobcat fans, it's time for F&F Fashion Watch, brought to you by Foley and Fisher, the only two that seem to really care what Brent Vegan is wearing at his press conference.
That is loud.
Coach Vegan wore a dark navy suit with a subtle gray heathered checkered pattern, a pressed matte gray shirt with a navy patterned tie. No pocket square, no baloney.
I think
Ding.
Brent Vegan's always no baloney.
Yeah.
Just in general.
Put some
in his
baloney
life,
in there.
He's just no BS, no baloney.
All right, so I'm not going to reveal the sources, but we do have a source talking to us stating that Mrs. Vegan might be listening to the RnR, the Foley Fashion Watch, and stated at church there will be no pocket square. This gives me hope. This gives me hope, people. Someone in the vegan household, apparently Mrs. Vegan, is listening. Molly, Mrs. Vegan, this is our petition to you. You are probably a kind and lovely lady. It would take nothing but a little slip of a pocket square into Coach Vegan's lapel. We can make this happen. We could work as a team. Everybody would be cheering. Everybody would be cheering. Please.
Yes.
Let's make this happen.
Let's make it happen. Let's get one thing changed. Let's use this podcast for good change in the pocket squares. The people demand it.
Yeah. Statistically, viewership is up on these YouTube videos watching Coach Vegan during his press conference.
A lot of eyeballs on that chest, his attire. Let's spice it up.
That's all conjecture. All right. Well,
I believed you.
Yeah, I said it pretty convincingly. I have a source that's telling me.
I just assumed you were kind of paying attention to the YouTube accounts. There's 10 more than last week. You're the one watching them. Right. I don't watch them. I listen to them.
Yeah, well, I mean, I tune in and then I have to pause it because I have to think about how I'm going to write it, and then I have to zoom in because his suits are so dapper that the patterns in them are so subtle, and the camera angles are so bad most of the time. I have to use all my abilities to zoom in. Anyways, Coach Vegan,
you do great.
Molly, let's make it happen. All right. So Coach talked about, he gave a little bit of praise to Pocatello, the defense for the Bengals, which I thought was a really good defense. And I do have a buy or sell. I'm just going to hit you with it right now, Thorny. Buy or sell, are you concerned with, quote, unquote, this is Ryan Foley, all of a sudden a dry spell of big plays?
Yes.
Do you care to expand?
No.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I mean, I know teams are playing it that way, but we got to prove we can still hit some big plays. Although we're sustaining drives, we're moving the chains. I think our third down conversions are good, but I don't know, man. It's nothing's going to be like Maine. We've talked about that. It's not going to be home runs every time, but it just seems like we're getting 5 yards every play right now.
Yeah, and we're complaining about 5 yards every play, and that's a good thing, you know, in from
Yeah.
the 30,000-foot view. I kept waiting for a 40-yard run, a 60-yard touchdown scamper because it looked like we were that close to it. Go back a week, we're playing Mercyhurst. It still felt like the same. You're like, oh man, Montana State should be busting one of these, and we weren't. Funny thing was, Coach Vegan praises Scottree Humphrey, saying that was his best game as a Bobcat. Making cuts, making different things. Taco Dollar talked about it today in his 406 Montana Sports interview. Shout out to Victor Flores for putting that up. It looks like we are in kind of like this lull of big time plays. I don't know if I'm concerned. It just feels different because that was the hallmark of the early season for us, was hitting these gashing big plays, and we haven't seen that. Not only from the running, we're not hitting big plays down the field either. Like Sean Chambers was our big play down the field guy. Tommy Malot's passing, I would say arguably is probably the best of his career right now. Still not a lot of big plays to be had downfield.
Well, it wasn't his best of his career against Idaho State. So I don't know. We're starting to see you ask questions like this, and then we start talking about the game.
Okay, sorry, I'll
and
get
we're
back
not
to you, the
there
presser.
yet.
Okay, all right. Fair enough. Let's see.
Because I'm ready.
News on the injury front, he says still no Polidor, still no Julius Davis. They're out there practicing. Kind of leads in. He's like, maybe a week away. I'm guessing 2 weeks away. Although I'm not sure. I think holding Julius Davis off of playing in Idaho. I watched Julius Davis. He looked like a man possessed last year playing in Idaho. I think he wants all of that. So I would say probably my prediction is Julius Davis comes back next week. Polidor's out. Perkins is still, I don't know if Perkins can come back this year. I'm just going to say it straight up. This is just me stating it. I hope I'm wrong. People talked about Taki Ula-Kipa. Not ruled out. He did disclose what injury it was. It looks like the same injury that 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. Something with the knee. I'm just projecting here. Could be something else. John Johnson will miss the first half with a legit targeting call. Shout out to like Ty Gregorak for calling that out on the game, like not wrapping up, and then Coach Vegan kind of defended him in the post game, saying probably has something to do with his hand with the club he's wearing. Not wanting to
makes it hard.
Yeah, and he said John will probably have that cast off this week. So,
hey,
but he will miss the first part. And another thing that came off in this, as far as injury fronts, Marquis Johnson. He's been injured. He did not travel to Pocatello. That's why you saw Ontario Latin Henley take the kickoff at that one point. They're going to redshirt him. You won't see him catching or being fielding those kickoffs, although Coach Vegan said that's a guy we're probably going to lean on in the future. But yeah, I didn't know Marquis was injured.
Well, just kind of goes to show you how much we're really utilizing Marquis Johnson. Didn't know he wasn't even playing. He's not getting any chances to do anything.
I know. I multiple people lament online about him not getting touches, and I kind of feel that. I've always felt that. I'm not sure when Elijah Elliott's going to get back. What's his story? Have you heard anything on why Elijah Elliott's not playing? I know he's injured.
He's injured. That's all I know. It's been
Jared White didn't get any touches last week, or maybe he did, but it's going to be hard pressed to get in when you have Julius Davis, Adam Jones, and Scottree Humphrey ruling the backfield. And the only other thing I would mention with Coach Vegan is he gave props to you guys, the fans out there. He said Montana State faithful traveled well to Pocatello, and that was actually his lead-in to his whole presser.
Yeah, he said the guys felt it, and it made a difference. So, yeah, gotta love the traveling Bobcat fans traveling to all these venues and making noise. Love to hear it. Love to hear it on TV. Love to see it.
All right. some other things in the presser, but I'm going to withhold because we'll talk about it during the game.
Sounds good. And I really have no other comments on the press conference, so I'm ready to get into the game and the stats if you are ready as well.
Stats.
Stats! I don't know what that was.
Brought
All
to
right.
you by Blink. You can sponsor our stats. We talk about it every week. If anybody wants to sponsor our stats segment, you know how to get a hold of us.
Brought to you by Lewis and Clark Brewing, which is in my golden coolie. I'm going to take a drink right now.
That's free advertisement for Lewis and Clark
You're
Brewing.
welcome. All right. 37-17, your Bobcats roll down to Pocatello, Idaho. Come out victorious. Well, you need to talk about that last touchdown, Foley. Don't let me forget. We need to talk
buy
about
or sell
that.
on that for you, buddy.
Good.
I got you covered.
All right. So let's get into the stats. Bobcats finished with 21 first downs to Idaho State 16. The Cats are 10 of 15 on third down. Very efficient. 0-0 on fourth down. But Idaho State, 6 for 16. That's a pretty good percentage defensively. But 2 for 2 on fourth down. The Cats kind of continue to struggle stopping teams on fourth down. 410 total yards for the Cats to just 276 for the other striped Cats. 142 passing yards for the Bobcats. 10 of 17, 8.4 yards per pass. And Idaho State finished 201 yards through the air on 20 of 41 attempts for just 4.9 yards per pass. And they did throw that interception to Rylan Ort. That was a great interception. I'm sure you'll get into that in your bit. 268 yards on the ground for the Bobcats on 49 attempts for 5.5 yards per carry, which is a pedestrian Bobcat number, but most teams in the country would kill for that number. 75 yards for the Bengals on 20 attempts for just 3.8 yards per carry. Both teams penalized pretty equally, 7 penalties each for 68 yards for the Cats and 65 for the Bengals. A turnover apiece. The fumble by Adam Jones.
Yeah,
Adam Jones
early on
fumbled it away, and then I can't remember the quarterback, but the Bengals threw an interception to Rylan Ort, and then the time of possession pretty handily won by the Bobcats, 31 minutes and 42 seconds to just 23 minutes and 44 seconds. Does that add up to 60? 31-42 and 23-44? That doesn't seem right. Was there a time in the middle of the game when there's nobody possessed the ball? Anyway. There you go. There's the team stats.
Yeah.
I gotta go look somewhere else because that's funky.
Yeah, that's what I have on mine too. See, I write down all the stats you read off just so I can keep track. Helps me get a feel for the game. Punt. MSU punted the ball 3 times for 112 yards. Surprisingly, 3 punts. Idaho State, we forced 6 punts for 274 yards. Fourth down, Montana State was 0 for 0. You already covered that. Idaho State was 2 for 2. Man, and one of them, we were 3rd and 10, and they just threw up a jump ball, and I don't know what happened, man. It's just Montana State struggling on the struggle bus with the fourth down right now. That's a concern. That's a major concern for Ryan Foley. Red zone, Montana State was 4 for 4. Idaho State 3 for 3. Ooh. Not good. Sacks. We didn't have a single sack this game.
Yep.
Tommy got sacked for 3 yards. Field goal, 1 for 1. And they were 1 for 1 on a field goal too. Thorny, who made the field goal?
Miles Sandstead.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm not. I think somebody else. I think Taco Dallas said it was Brennan Hall today, but now I'm confused. Anyway, stats say it's Miles Sandstead. What number is Miles Sandstead? Would you look that up for me?
39.
It's number 39. Okay, we're good then. Let's talk individual stats. Tommy Millot was 10 for 17 for 142 with 1 touchdown. He had a long of 70, so 70 of those 142 came on that Rohan Jones. Fourth quarter, just first play from the scrimmage. So not that great. Tommy kind of struggled in the passing game. He had 6 carries for 26 yards and a touchdown, a classic Tommy Millot touchdown, which was good to see. Scotty Humphrey He was our leading rusher. He had 27 touches for 159 yards, 3 touchdowns with a long of 21. Game ball Scottree.
It's crazy to get 159 yards with a long of 21.
I know. Well, he had 27 touches. I mean, he was doing
You're still churning out like 6 yards
grown
to carry
man's
or
work
whatever.
right there.
7 yards to carry.
Adam Jones only had 12 touches for 61 yards after he fumbled. You didn't see a lot from Adam Jones after that. He got put in the doghouse a little bit, rightfully so. And we were kind of fortunate to get a pick right after that from Ryan Lenore. Let's see. Rohan Jones, he had 2 catches for 93 yards. Again, with the long of 70. I'm a huge fan of that guy. He's just a good human being, as Taco Dollar said. He looks like a good guy. Jacob Trimble, he had 1 catch for 23 yards. Ty McCullough had 3 for 17. Danny Yu led defense with 10 total tackles, 3 solo, 1 tackle for a loss. Brody Grebe had 3 total with a half of a tackle for a loss. Paul Brott had 3 total, 1 tackle for a loss, and 2 QB hits. Paul Brott is a wrecking ball in the middle of the defense. That guy
coming out party a little bit.
Yeah. Like, holy cow, number 96 coming through the line. You're like, who's that ginormous dude? Paul Brott is his name. You should be paying attention to him because kind of unsung hero so far. Makeda Riley, 4 solo. He had 8 total with 4 QB hits. Makeda Riley hit the QB 4 times, not 1 sack. Simeon Woodard, 2 pass breakups. Taco had 5 returns, 73 yards. He had that long 50, flipped the field. He caught it on like the 3-yard line or 6-yard line and returned it out past the 50. That was huge for us. Miles Sandstead, 4 for 4 on point afters with a long of a 44-yard field goal. Continued to be pretty impressive on that. I looked it up today. We're perfect on point afters, and we'll probably miss one now that I just said that, but 25 for like 25 on the year. And he's been perfect lately. Good for him. Let's see. Christian Fredrickson. You don't know that guy because he plays for the Bengals. He had 6 catches for 60 yards. His brother, Logan Fredrickson, plays for the Cats. Did you know that? Brothers played against each other.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Tracy Kobe, their quarterback, was 17 for 33, had 183 yards, 2 touchdowns. His last touchdown was insane. He just literally threw it up while getting smashed.
Yeah.
Threw a dime. I was flabbergasted how that one was completed.
It's like, come on.
It was on like 3rd or 4th down too. It was wild. Hunter Hayes was 3 for 8, 18 yards. So he didn't really factor in. He had 1 interception. And I forgot to mention Ryan Lord. He had 4 total. He had that interception. So there you go, man. Those are your stats.
What do they tell you?
Montana State is taking more of a balanced approach to their offensive game. That's what they tell me.
17 passing attempts and 49 rushing attempts is balanced.
For the last 2 games, we have not rushed over 300 yards.
Yeah, because that... Did Mercyhurst lay the blueprint on how to slow the rushing attack down? Because I feel like Idaho State did a lot of stuff similar to what Mercyhurst was doing.
I don't know, man. How do you slow the rushing? Just put 8 in the box.
Yeah, but
like you just overload the box, dude. That's it.
Yeah, but they're keeping like guys on the second level though. They're not sending them anywhere. They're just kind of sitting there, like almost like a run zone, to wait to see which way we go, and then they're just kind of they'll give up the 3 or 4 yard run. They're not trying to get tackles for loss. They're just trying to stop 7-yard touchdown runs.
That's a good point.
That's kind of what that's what I'm seeing a little bit.
Yeah,
like no one's really hitting us behind the line, but they're hitting us 2 or 3 yards down the line. And it's much more grindy. Teams are making us work a little bit more for it.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's like because Mercyhurst or Idaho State are so much talented on defense. I think it's the game plan they're employing. And I think Tommy's going to have to do a better job of throwing the ball to break out of it. I thought he had a pretty mediocre game throwing the ball. He missed some throws. He rushed some throws. He got some pressure. They were getting pressure on him a little bit, but he can't make a throw under pressure real well. At least he didn't on Saturday. So I don't know. It's going to have to be a lot more than what we saw. His stats are padded pretty heavily by that wide open touchdown pass to Rohan Jones.
What if Montana State passed the ball for 30 times? Just double their attempts.
We'd probably have 3 interceptions.
Think so?
No. And Rohan Jones, let's see. His 70-yard touchdown run. So, pass. Reception. So half of Tommy's passing yards were that one play to Rohan Jones.
Yeah, he was struggling.
Yeah,
he was. Yeah. He was struggling.
That concerned me almost more than anything out of this game, because if teams are figuring out the defense a little bit, or the offense, the rushing attack a little bit, they're figuring out how to control it a little bit, and teams without elite talent like the Dakota States and South Dakota States of the world are able to kind of slow it down a little bit, we got to throw it better than this, period.
And we might, Thorny. It's only 5 games into the season. Turns out we played 12 in the regular season, not counting that postseason. Things are not static. We are a dynamic team. It's not even halfway into this season. Next week.
Yeah, I don't know. I came away with this game just slightly, not overly, but slightly starting to be a little bit concerned about how we stack up nationally against the elite teams.
The Dakota States?
Pretty much. Pretty much.
I know. I don't remember you texting me about that, but I think you're kind of overreacting just a little bit. I think Montana State's in a great position right now. So if your half class is empty, Mr. Half Glass is full right now. I think there's a lot of coaching tape. I think we have a young offensive coordinator in Tyler Walker who's learning as this thing goes along. I do believe the story not being told right now is not having Sean Chambers coming in. Big cat, little cat. Sean Chambers, we all know. Big time player. Big time plays. He was a spark plug. Passing and running.
Yeah. Everyone wants to talk about how he comes in and like pounds it on like a 3rd and 2 or inside the red zone, but he came in and threw 30-yard touchdown passes like it was candy.
Yeah. Play action fake. We weren't doing play action fakes with Tommy. But Chambers would eat those alive. You just love them. You just like, oh man, we just faked it. Oh, we're going deep. You just drop it in, and you're just like, hands were in the air before it was even caught.
Mm-hmm. You saw the whole thing develop on the TV screen. Like, oh, beautiful.
Yeah, and I miss that, man. I think we talked about that last week. I miss that kind of play.
I missed the Lance McCutcheon 50-50 balls, and I didn't even like those that much.
When's the last time we caught one?
We haven't thrown. I feel like we've had 0 passes successfully thrown like 30, 40 yards down the field that were completed this year.
Ryan King almost had a touchdown, a 50-50 touchdown. He came down with it, and then the defender played swiped it out of his hands.
There's been some close ones. There's been some hands on the balls and guys like landing out of bounds and the ball squirts out or whatever, but close doesn't matter. Now, Idaho State, Mercyhurst, they had guys that could just go up and get balls that were just chucked straight up in the air.
We also have kind of short defensive backs.
Yeah, but we have 2 like 6'4" wide receivers.
Yeah.
Everyone has short defensive backs in the FCS. That's why they're in the FCS. There's not 6'1", 180 guys that can run and cover in the FCS. Not too many of them anyway. So, I don't know. We're not beating anybody. We're not getting open. Tommy's not finding them, and then they're not coming down with the balls when they're there. The long balls. The mid-range game, Tommy looks a lot better on in general, except for Idaho State.
Give it time, man. I think we can get there.
I was so frustrated. This is kind of not super related, but the screen pass we finally saw that was going to be set up so beautifully. I need to go rewatch that. Somebody missed a block There was like one Bengal, like 6 Bobcats there. He runs outside the blocker and tackles him. If he doesn't make, like, all you gotta do is chip him on his way by, and that's probably a touchdown.
Yes, it was. We had the Millennium Falcon formation of blockers over there. It was completely set up. You're right. There was 6 Bobcats over there. It was a bad pass, by the way. Adam Jones had to reach back into the ground to get that pass. So I don't think he would have been in the right state of mind. But yeah, chip that one guy. He made it through all 6 Bobcats, and it was so bad. It was like that guy was. I mean, I'm laughing because it was comically bad. It's like that guy beat
everybody.
one dude. I was like, we had the fortress, just like we had the flying V formation of Montana State offensive linemen just ready to wreck shop, and that guy somehow penetrated that and got Adam
I want to
Jones.
say a huge prop to that guy. He read it and flew to that. He was decisive, and he made a great play. I gotta give some credit. It was a well played, but yeah, I don't think it would have taken much to get him out of the way, though.
So
I
did
don't
we
think
hear that
anybody even
Montana
touched
State
him.
was like trying to implement this new screen game, or they went and did some sort of like, something about screens, whatever. But it's if that's what we're looking at for screens, I'm not sure that's good stuff right there.
No, we don't practice. That's the first time we've done it all year. First time we've done it in like 5 years. All right,
Yeah.
give us time, like you're saying.
Oh,
We'll get better at it. 0 for 1. 0 for 1. All right, what else do we want to talk about in this game? I thought the secondary seems to be a big point of contention among Bobcat fans. Some say it was fine, some say it was terrible. Where did you land on the secondary play?
I think that was good.
I
think
thought
we
it was
did
pretty
brilliant.
good.
Yeah. I mean, overall, I think that we had plenty of pass breakups. We were very aggressive. I don't know, dude. Like, for our guys being as small as they are, without Drew Pollard back there, I thought we played really good.
I thought it was like one of the best secondary performances I've seen. There was the overthrown deep ball in the beginning. There continues to be a miscommunication problem. Like there's a misassignment. That's still there, but I thought overall they played the ball a lot better. They didn't give up as much of a cushion. I thought they played aggressive and physical. I thought it was a really good game by the secondary. And I know there's a like hot take Nate is like all in panic mode. Who is it? MSU Hunter and Bobcat Nation's in panic mode about the secondary is just horrible.
Doom and gloom.
And I'm like, are you watching the same football game I am? I was like, we gave up 201 passing yards to a team that like does nothing but pass the ball on like 4.9 yards per completion. Like, it's fine.
Yeah,
they're not
2/3
elite.
Of
they're
Idaho
good.
State's plays will always be passes underneath this current regime, and we held them below their average. Turns out we're pretty good. By yourself, Thorny. I'm impressed with our defense.
I was extremely impressed with the defense against Idaho State.
Yes,
that was the most aggressive play calling. They were hair on fire everywhere. They were getting after everything. They looked mean and nasty out there. They looked like they were ready to kill everybody. They needed to transfer some of that passion to the offense because the offense came out and looked like they were asleep. But the defense, woo, loved it.
I loved it too. The only critique I had was it was either third downs.
Yeah, there was a crucial third or fourth down where we didn't blitz, and they
2 of them
completed a nice easy pass on us.
And Coach Gregorak pointed this out. He's like, we've been bringing the pressure this whole time. And then we run with a 4-man front, and Kobe had time to go back and make his read and then complete the pass. It's like, on third down, why don't we just send the house right there? Just go for it. So,
no.
Oh, it was that my pet peeve is when they scored right before half.
Oh, yeah, you hate that.
Oh,
I mean, everyone hates that, but
drives me up a freaking wall. gotta be more aggressive. Just send the house and live with it. If they complete it when we're sending the house, okay, fine, whatever. That guy, they're like 6'6" receiver who made that play, unreal. His size 14 shoes saved him. Like if he had size 12 shoes, he wouldn't have hit the ground right there because his toes barely tapped. It's in the house right there. Don't drop 8. Don't try to clog it up. Just put the pressure because we were getting to him. So I was just a little bit frustrated.
Well, even their other big pass that led to that touchdown was a complete fluke, in my opinion. Like we went off sides, so of course then half the defensive line stops playing because they're like, oh, there's a penalty. Let's shoot. Oh, we get to keep going. So you've already like been indecisive and lost your advantage there, and the quarterback just heaves the ball straight up in the air. And I didn't see the replay. It almost like our defensive back was on the ground. I was like, did the wide receiver just shove him to the ground? I don't know, but whatever. It's a complete toss up ball on a penalty, and they got lucky and came down with it. I mean, that was like
got the 5-yard penalty anyways. That would have been put at 4th and 3. I think that was 4th and 8 on that play.
Yeah, so that was just a kind of a unlucky play. I mean, the Bobcats went offside, so it's not unlucky. We shot ourselves in the foot, but it's just like I thought the defense overall played pretty well, and that was like one of the only good plays they had, and it was because the defensive line gave up because they thought it was a penalty. So it's just one of those weird plays.
All right, so a little bit on that play. I think this happened twice. A new formation. They call it the cowboy formation. You know what I'm talking about?
The Bobcats?
Yeah, they're putting Brody Grebe as a kind of like a stand-up linebacker.
I've seen that, yeah. They call it the cowboy?
It's called the cowboy formation. Zach Kreese mentioned that today in his presser on 406. By the way, great interview. If you ever get a chance to go look at that one, he's good behind the mic. He'd be like a guy maybe like later on when he's not playing, maybe we should get on or something. But what do you think about that? Like we were offsides twice when we were trying to figure that one out.
Yeah, we were a little jumpy. We were almost too aggressive sometimes. Like there's a couple times. Like I don't know. I loved the wrinkle and I loved the aggressiveness. I'm okay with a few offsides here and there.
Okay.
It should not be on a key down. It shouldn't be like 3rd and 4. You should never be jumping outside in 3rd and 4. Give them a free first down. But
yeah,
I don't know.
Do you think we're trying to design too much for Brody?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
What else from this game?
Just wondering. You know what I like is we won. I mean, I know that sounds very simplistic. We went on the road in Idaho in a dome against a team that was going to be pass happy. I was really concerned that we would be giving up a lot of quick slants and hitches. They would just be slicing and dicing us down the field, having these long sustained drives. First 5 drives, 3 and outs. We were dominating.
We've had such a good string of 3 and outs. Like we've been putting consecutive quarters of football together that are complete domination.
Yeah, but then at one point it was a 1-score game.
Yeah.
So Montana State was up 17-7 or something like that, and then Idaho State hits a field goal to cut it. Then we have to like the third quarter for Montana State has not been a good quarter in this year. And it's something that it kind of feels like it's been a trend for the Bobcats in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to go back and kind of look at the numbers on that. But you're talking about it was a 1-score game. Well, it wasn't because of the defense. It's because the offense just could not get it going.
Yeah, we hit some lulls. 17
points through 3.5 quarters or whatever it was. Not great.
Nope. Coulter Nuanez mentioned he's like, take it for what it's worth, but he said Idaho State's defense is one of, well, it's not the worst in the conference. He said he was pretty impressed with what he saw.
I was impressed. They played very physical.
Yeah.
They were a big, hard-hitting crew, and they were fired up. And they were fired up the entire game.
Yeah. I'm impressed with Cody Hawkins and Dan Hawkins and the crew that they got going on over there. I think if Cody Hawkins can maintain there, if he can stay there, I think he will build it into a middling team for the Big Sky.
Yeah.
If not, top 5.
They could be a consistent 7-win team.
Yeah,
6-7
I
wins.
can see that. Yeah. All right.
I hope so.
Hey, Thorny?
It's only good for the conference to have a team like Idaho State not be crappy every year. Almost did a swear. It would be good for the conference, though.
All right. I feel like I've hit a couple swear words in the last couple weeks.
Yeah, I think
That's
last
not
week you did.
Yeah. All right. I got to buy or sell for you. I feel really good. Buy or sell. I feel really good with our new coordinators.
I'd buy it.
Both?
Yeah. I think Tyler Walker's still waiting for him to have kind of like, there he is. I think this was the game like Bobby Daly was like, there he is.
Yeah.
I just need that from Tyler Walker. I mean, Maine could have been that, I suppose, but I don't know. I've been pretty impressed. I don't think there's been much of a drop off or anything from House, right? And Daly's been I think an obvious improvement from Garza.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot more to improve on the side of the ball too, though.
Yeah, I'm with you on both of those. Last thing for this game is let's talk about that last touchdown.
Yes.
You wanted to talk about it.
So how it transpired, I went and rewatched it because I couldn't remember exactly. I think Idaho State scored a touchdown with like 5 minutes left, which made it 30-17. And they tried an onside kick. And we recovered it. And then there's a couple plays, and I think then Idaho State stopped us on first down. They called a timeout. This is like 2-something left, 2:50 in the game or something like that. So they called a timeout. Then we ran the ball a few more times, went down the 2-minute warning. We got a first down. And we just kept getting first downs. And then Adam Jones got his helmet knocked off when the clock was running, which stopped the game from ending. And then we ran one more play, and it was a run up the middle. Scotty Humphrey scored a touchdown. Time expired. The 6-yard line or something like that. So I've always been of the opinion, if you don't like a team running up a score against you, then don't let them run the score up against you. Play defense. And I also believe there's no classless thing to do. I think there's a classy choice you can make. You can take a knee. That's classy. I don't think scoring there is classless. Let me put it that way. I wouldn't have done it. I would have taken a knee. I would prefer to see us take a knee. I don't think it's this horrible sportsmanship. Karma's going to come back and get the Bobcats crap that I've seen poor Bengals fans spewing all over Twitter.
Same Bengals fans that posted a grill fight and some guy, filming it, saying a meme about us, just trash talking the Bengals.
That was the Jungle
guys?
Land. I'll allow it. I like those guys. They're funny. This is more just normal annoying Bengals fans.
Okay. I say score. I wanted to score. I'm with you a little bit, but I'm at the point in my life fandom. I was like, just score, run it up.
Yeah.
I don't even care anymore. I just want to be the bully out there.
I'm a little bit that way too,
especially
especially after seeing us. We're talking about does Brent Vegan have a killer instinct and all this stuff, and we haven't been covering the spread. We've been letting off the pedal, all that stuff. It was refreshing a little bit to see us do something you probably shouldn't do, but felt kind of good to do,
If you don't like it, go ahead and stop it. It's A gap power. God's play.
Yeah.
Can't stop it, then that's on you.
That's all we did was just run the ball. We had the ball with 5 minutes left after they tried an onside kick, and they still had 2 timeouts, and they had the 2-minute warning. We just ran the ball until the...
Okay, so here's the deal, Thorny. That play, A-gap power. We're not running a fade, back shoulder fade.
No.
We're not running a quick slant right there. It's the most basic running play you can run.
No, Brent Vegan said, he talked a little bit about it. The intention wasn't to score. It just kind of happened a little bit. They hand the ball off, just didn't realize he'd score on it, kind of thing. He's like, in
Somebody
hindsight,
talked to him about
he
it.
said in hindsight he should have taken a knee.
Yeah, he felt bad.
But
don't feel bad about that, Coach Vegan. Score that touchdown and wear their pocket square. Be a man.
Do you think he really feels bad, or is he just saying that?
Be a man. No.
Would he say anything else? Would Brent Vigen say anything else?
That's that Midwestern nice coming out of him. I think we.
I think there's a little bit of revenge for Brody Greavy on that one, personally.
What do you mean? I don't get that reference.
Brody Greavy sacked their quarterback, and he was getting up, and they kind of got tangled up, and he kneed him in the head. Brody Greavy.
Oh yeah, Hunter Hayes.
Like
That's
purposely,
right.
obviously got flagged for it. Very obvious, dirty, cheap hit, knee to the head.
Yeah.
So in this situation, I don't feel bad. I don't really condone scoring in this situation necessarily, but in this particular case, I don't feel bad that happened. I'm not gonna lose any sleep because Scott Humphrey scored a touchdown with 0 seconds left against the Bengals. I'm not gonna lose any sleep over it.
They literally didn't even kick the point after. They just said it was done.
Well, yeah, because they scored 0 seconds left. I mean, I'm not sure I've really seen that before.
I know, right? That was weird. That was
weird.
weird.
It was a score as time expired that had nothing to do with the outcome of the game. I mean, from the winning team. Sometimes you'll see it in the losing teams trying to score, and they get a score right as time expires. Like, all right, now we only lost by 20. But the winning team is a little more rare, I think.
So the Bobcats are 5-0. 5-0, Tony. We're probably going to be 6-0 after homecoming this coming week. I think there's a possibility that Montana State could only need 2 more wins to be in the playoffs. We're the 3rd team in the nation. Not saying like Montana State could just airmail it into its goal, like lose the last 5.
No, we're not getting in at 7-5, losing 5 in a row.
Yeah, no, we're not. But a 7-5 Bobcat team. I mean, this is hypotheticals. I don't want Montana State to go 7-5. Could Montana State hypothetically only need 2 more wins to be playoff eligible? Brian Foley says yes.
It just depends. Yeah. It depends how it transpires, but yes.
You're not going to leave Montana State out of the playoffs at 7-5.
Unless they lost 5 in a row, then you would.
No, you're not going to leave Montana State out. No, they won't. They wouldn't. They would somehow find a way to put us in. It's the whole Grizzly thing. Like, the Grizzlies always get in. We're at that level now.
I disagree.
All right. Anything on Northern Colorado?
Because that means we would have lost to Portland State and Eastern Washington and Northern Colorado. Well, no, not Northern Colorado. But it means Portland State and Eastern Washington, though.
Eastern Washington at home. I don't know, man. They put it on.
I think that's the one loss I have penciled in for the Cats in my preseason show. I'm pretty sure I have to losing it at Eastern.
I hope you're not some soothsayer on that. That would be so.
Well, I am so far. I'm perfect on the Cats so far. I picked us beating New Mexico, and obviously I picked us beating every single team except for Eastern.
He started drinking too, guys. He's not on the sparkling juice and prune juice. Sparkling water and prune juice.
Not that old. God. I'm not drinking prune juice yet.
All right. Northern Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, they've played 5 quarterbacks. I did a little bit of research on those guys, and then I got bored because I was like, I can't figure anything out about these guys. They almost beat Abilene Christian, who is a top 25 team. Abilene Christian hit like a 52, 53-yard field goal to end it. I felt really bad for the Battlin Bears after that. I want them to win one. I don't want them to win against us. I was like, Cal Poly, let's go. And then Cal Poly takes it to them, of course. Where are you at with Northern Colorado on this game? Anything to talk about?
No.
No.
I mean,
McCaffrey's are gone. Ed Lamb's year 2. He still doesn't have a win. Got to feel a little bit bad for them because Ed Lamb is a good coach. But they're in such a weird position. If you're a player going to Northern Colorado, like, are you just a straight mercenary at this point? Like, I don't understand how you can recruit to that program.
I don't know. I mean, you could probably fill the roster with like local-ish Colorado kids and probably put out a decent product.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's just weird.
They're averaging like 13 points a game on offense. There's been 3 separate games they've scored 7 points.
That's what happens when you play 5 quarterbacks in
No.
5 games.
And the lowest amount of points they've given up is 24, and they lost to Cal Poly at home 20-7. That's terrible.
Yeah.
And I mean, this game could end up being like more uncomfortable than we want it to. I just don't see any way the Cats lose this game, though.
Yeah.
They're just not a good football team. Everyone's talking about, I'll put Chance Wilson in the second quarter. Like, I don't think it's they're a D1 team. I think those out of conference massacre is over. I think all these are going to be a little of a slog. But I don't know, man. That's a bad program. And I like Ed Lamb, the head coach. He used to coach at Southern Utah, but he's got some work to do.
Montana State's going to honor the 1984 championship team. It's homecoming.
Oh, that's right.
This could be a slaughter.
Yeah, Cats by 100. I forgot about that. Cats by 100.
Yeah. It's, yeah. I think you and I on the record for as many years as we've been doing this podcast, we're really not hard on opponents. We're very respectful for. I just don't see I don't see this going well for Northern Colorado. So
I'm changing my tune on that a little bit, only because I'm getting like lazy. Like,
what do you mean?
Like, I'm being dismissive in the fact that, like, for example, we're not talking about Northern Colorado. We're not talking about Mercyhurst. We didn't really talk very much about. Oh, who else was it? Maine, necessarily. It was like, we're gonna win. Like, I'm not being dismissive. It's just like, what is there to talk about Northern Colorado? I'm not gonna crap all over them. I'm not gonna just make a bunch of bad jokes, but they're not a good football program.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna like waste my time trying to figure out who their starting quarterback is.
No, they have 2 of them. Coach Vegan said number 10 and number 11. I went and looked up their names, but I'm not even going to bore you with them because you won't even care.
See, we're being like a little dismissive here. Well, more than a little, a fair amount dismissive.
Right. Let's just move into some Golden Coolie questions and get out of here. We've eclipsed the hour. Try to keep it done. Okay. First of all, people in the Golden Coolie thread, ask Golden Coolie questions. If you want to talk something else, please talk something else somewhere else.
What? I like the banter in there. It means there's some good discussion going on there.
It is. And I love the fact that everybody's like saying, hey, let's get Bobcat built Texan on. Don't think I've been talking about it. It's a possibility. We just want to make sure that we would have good content. Like, what should we ask him kind of deal. He's a fun poster right now, and we haven't talked to the guy yet.
Yeah.
So we'll reach out to him. We'll see what's up. What happened to the Saturday night post-game instant reaction show, Montana football?
Life.
Yeah, that's not a good excuse. We're going to do it.
No.
We're going to do it.
Not a good excuse. I'm just saying we've been a little bit busy, but there's always, I mean, it's a 20, 25-minute endeavor. We can find some time.
We can do it.
Our bad
cat
fans.
I mean, there's not a lot going on right here in this, in these things we've slacked on, admittedly, not posting our episodes in the RnR thread. Not doing Golden
What is
Coolie
this? Just
announcements.
crap on ourselves into this podcast?
Sorry. I don't know. There's no Golden Coolie questions. There's like people like there's no Golden Coolie questions. It says,
That's all right.
Blue and Gold Blitz says, who do you think is our best running back? All around running back.
I've been on the record saying this. Juice Davis.
I don't know if I have an answer to that question. That's a really tough one.
Adam Jones might be the second. Real close.
I think that's the easy way to think about this. Yeah. I'm probably taking Adam Jones. Yeah. Receiving, running, blocking.
Yeah, blocking's a part of it too.
Yeah. All right. It's a good question. Blue and gold.
I do have a couple of
question
hanging out on Twitter that we've been kind of I'm either forgetting to read or just haven't got around to. Danny on Twitter private messaged, Cooley question for the show. Do you think Troy Anderson will be at Cat Grizz? It's the Falcons bye week. I hope so. I think he will.
100%.
Yeah, I think he will. If it's a bye week, absolutely, I think he'll be there.
It's a good one. Keep it coming. Let's go. X is going to give it to you.
One that I missed. I was talking about when John Johnson might return. Well, pretty late on answering that one. He returned against Idaho State. Sorry. Let me see who that is. That is DeMikes on Twitter. Sorry for finally getting around to that and answering the question, or asking the question after it was already answered naturally.
Likes.
My bad. He was talking a little bit about, he was rewatching Gold Rush, and Andrew Powdrill seemed to be lost several times. I think Powdrill's come along. I get him confused. Who's the still? I get Stillwell and Powdrill confused. I don't know why. I cannot get them separated in my head. Stillwell's hurt, right? He's a safety.
Yeah, do both wear number 1?
Do they?
I don't know.
Doesn't make any sense.
Okay. Any others?
I think that's it. Got a couple in there.
Ooh, that's bad. All right, we got to do better. All right. We will do better. Thorny and I'm looking at you, man. I'm looking at me. We're going to do better.
Okay.
All right. Well, Thorny, I think the only person that gave us a good Golden Coolie question was I actually don't think anybody deserves a Golden Coolie question this week. I don't know. Blue and Gold Blitz or is it the guy on Twitter?
Blue and Gold Blitz.
Yeah, blue.
Well, you're just ending this on a positive note. We suck at this, and all of you suck at questions. Let's end this episode.
This is a you issue, not a me issue.
I thought you said I was the pessimist. Look at you.
Okay. Yeah, look at me. Look at me.
All right. Well, I think that about does it for this bad boy.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say?
Signed, sealed, and delivered. Let's go.
All right. Well, thanks, everyone, for listening to the show. If you're tuning in for the first time, we appreciate you finding our little slice of Bobcat Nation out here. You can find us on Twitter, RrCatcast. You can find us on the web, rrcatcast.com. You can always email us at rrcatcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Bobcat Nation. He is Common Cat. I am Celtic Cat. And Foley, let's get out of here, man. Let's go Cats.
Go Cats.
Go Cats.